What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, today I'm going to work on the S2000 a little bit. There's a few maintenance items I'm going to take care of, as well as throw on this test pipe here. This is a Circuit Works test pipe. I got it off of eBay. It's got this little O2 sensor extension here to help hopefully get rid of the check engine light. I do have a check engine light right now on the car for an O2 sensor. I don't know if it has to do with the sensor itself being bad, or the catalytic converter is clogged or broken or bad, but the first step I'm going to take is to just replace the cat with the test pipe. And I've got a new O2 sensor on the way, but it has not arrived yet. But I want to go ahead and take care of this. I can always do the O2 sensor later after the fact. The other two items that I've got, one small thing, are just some of these hex head bolts to put on the valve cover. The bolts that are on there are pretty old and nasty, and I'm going to replace those with some of these stainless ones. And the last thing is the VTEC solenoid gasket kit. It's leaking oil right now. I'm going to pull that solenoid off and replace the gaskets on there and clean that out, and hopefully get rid of that oil leak that I've got. So let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm going to start by pulling this O2 sensor out. Well, that could be a good reason for the O2 sensor code. It's completely missing. Alright, well here's the cat. It's a little bit of a pain to get off. I tried to cut a bolt off and I couldn't really get in there to cut it, so I ended up just breaking it off. I mean, the test pipe does come with replacement bolts for this triangular flange here, so that's good. I don't need that bolt. They're all rusted up anyway. But I was taking a look at the cat to try to see if it was messed up inside, and it's all intact in there, but if you listen, it's obviously broken loose from the inside there. So I've been hearing it's a loud rattling. You may have heard it earlier when I started the car up, and it's most likely this internals to the cat here. So I'll definitely see an improvement on that sound when we get this test pipe put in. Now the O2 sensor is broken off like you just saw, so I do not have one to put in here just yet, so I'm going to leave it unplugged because it's going to give a check engine light anyway. But we are going to get this test pipe put in, and the new O2 sensor will be here either tomorrow or on Monday sometime. So whenever I get it, we'll go ahead and throw it in there and see if that clears up the check engine light. But for now, let's go ahead and throw this test pipe in the car. going to jump over here to the VTEC solenoid gasket. There's just a few 10mm bolts holding this on. So I'm going to stick a rag down underneath it to catch any of the loose oil that's going to drain out. And then we'll pop this thing off of here. Alright, this is the gasket that we're going to be changing. There's also another one sandwiched in between here. This gasket didn't look too bad. It may have actually been changed before, but it is leaking, so I am going to go ahead and change it again. There's a lot of oil on the bolts, which is letting me know that there is oil getting past the gasket. So we'll pull this gasket off and we'll get it swapped out. Get it all cleaned up. Hopefully looking better too. Alright, well, we got the VTEC solenoid gaskets replaced. The top one for the actual solenoid was actually pretty flat and brittle, so it may have been leaking from there. I really don't know. It was so nasty and had so much oil on it. I couldn't really tell where it was leaking from, but we got those two changed. I didn't change the O-ring on the pressure sensor here because I don't believe that's where it was leaking from. It looks like it's got a pretty good seal on it. I do have that. It came with the kit. I think it's the Bilotti Sports gasket kit. So if I do need it, I have it. So I'm going to keep an eye on this from now on to see for any oil leaks in the future. Also, I went ahead and replaced these valve cover bolts with the Allen head bolts. Wasn't the best time to do it because I do plan on removing this valve cover and refinishing it, but I went ahead and threw them in there because I did get them in the mail, see what they look like. It cleans it up quite a bit. I also got these Allen head bolts in here, the little black oxide ones. I may end up changing those out to stainless as well, just to give it a little bit more contrast here. I don't know yet. I'll decide whenever I refinish that valve cover and the spark plug cover. But I did notice that this stud back here is broken, or the bolt is broken off into there. So I'm going to have to try to get an easy out and drill that out and see if I can get it retapped or cleaned up so I get a bolt put in there. But that'll be for a different day. Right now I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to wait on that oxygen sensor, and then I'm going to go ahead and throw that in there and see if I can get this check engine light cleared out. I'm going to go ahead and leave this thing up on jack stands until I get the oxygen sensor, and then we'll go ahead and throw it in. So I'll catch you then. Next day here, and we did get the oxygen sensor in the mail, so let's open this thing up and get it thrown in. It definitely has the wrong plug on the end of it, so I think I'm going to have to cut this off and fix that. We got it all done, so let's go ahead and get it put on. Looks like no more check engine light. Let's drop this thing down and take it for a drive. Well, I took it for a spin and the check engine light is off. I've got the hood popped here because I was looking for an oil leak here to see if that VTEC solenoid gasket was leaking, and I do not see any new oil dripping out of there. There is some oil leak still from this bolt here in the front of the engine. I'm going to have to change that O-ring next. But for right now, I'm going to call that a win, as well as the test pipe, because the check engine light's gone. I mean, it runs a lot better whenever you actually hit VTEC. It's actually an increase in power now versus how it felt before. It was kind of like it fell on its face, but it's a whole lot better now. So we're just going to keep moving on this thing, trying to clean it up a little bit more. There's a lot of work that needs to be done in here as far as cleaning it and maintenance wise. There's a lot of things that need to be changed out, belts, gaskets, a lot of different stuff. So we'll be digging into that in a later video, but hopefully the next video we're going to be jumping back into the CRX and making some progress on that car. So stick around and we'll see you next time.